Hi, everyone. Welcome to Live with Blayne J. Thank you so much for being here for your weekly connection to people, brands, and businesses. And if you are actually joining me live, thank you even more because it's Saturday morning, 9 o'clock East Coast time. I wanted to make sure that our guest who's joining us from Sweden was able to be here. There's a 7-hour difference, so she is well into her day, which is why we are here on a weekend going live at 9. Now, before we bring on our guests, I forgot to mention in my last live that March is Women's History Month. It's a time to celebrate women and all of the achievements and accomplishments and strides that we have made in history. So for the month of March, all of my guests will be women. I'm going to try to squeeze in a couple more guests who have just been doing amazing things. I want to make sure that they're highlighted this month. So for more information, of course, stay tuned and keep your notifications locked to Real-ish Radio. In addition to Women's History Month, last Monday was also International Women's Day, a day to celebrate women all over the world globally. So what better way to end that week than with an international guest, filmmaker Filson Ali. She's here to talk about her latest project, Play and Rewind, which is a platform for third culture kids and youth in Sweden. It's a way for them to gain insight and mentorship on filmmaking, get their voices down and be heard, and see themselves represented on film. So here's Filson joining us now. Hi, Filson.
Hi. Hi.
How are you? What time? It's about 3 o'clock.
Yes, it's 3 p.m. It's 3 p.m. So halfway there. How about you?
Like, I'm good. I'm just starting my morning. So I made sure I was like up and ready. But Filson and I go way back. We've actually known each other for like 8 plus 10, no, not even 8, 10 plus years.
Yes. Oh, wow.
I think for about 10 years or more. We were both graduate students at Long Island University in Brooklyn. Filson has her master's in her MFA. I have my master's of the arts. And we clicked in grad school and we've been going since then. And I want to get into your project, but I also want to mention something that I was not familiar with, which is third culture kids. So this platform that you have is for third culture kids. So can you tell us more about what that is?
Absolutely. And so, I mean, the platform, let me start this way. The platform is for young adults, but most youth that have participated in this project has been the culture kids, meaning like most of them are born and raised in Sweden, but probably have generation of their parents from another country, or so. And this kind of, so they live in a kind of limbo situation. So they are born and raised in Sweden, but they have a generation of roots that are not from Sweden. But so the reason we have them and try to represent them because they don't get to see themselves in the media, and that's why one of the movies actually talk about a lot about identities, because when you have like identity have this how should I put it? Blayne, can you help me?
Sure. So what I'm hearing you say for third culture kids, let's set an example. It could be that maybe your parents came from, your family is originally from, it's Africa?
Let me put it this way. So let me start from the beginning because I don't lose myself. So we don't focus on the third culture kids because that's the most important to question and to talk about. But Play Rewind is a platform for young adults to express themselves and mostly like to tell their own story, their authentic stories. So we provide them with tools to tell their stories. And these stories are important because they don't really see themselves in the media the way they should. So, and now we have 3 movies, and some of them talk about how they are perceived in the media, one of the movies, and the other movies talk about the identity. You know, these kids are mixed with a lot of things, and then they are born and raised in Sweden. So they're trying to figure it out who they are. So I think it's important that we get to hear their voices and their stories, and then the other one is the funding in the area. You know, they don't have enough funding. Maybe the youth place is closing, and that kind of creates stress in their life. So so what's so important with this is because when you're so young, if you don't have enough representation in the media, you cannot feel lost. You cannot fall for the stereotype because you are so young and you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find a way to express yourself. And I mean, I remember just growing up, like I couldn't put myself or place myself in a box because I didn't know where I was belonging. You know, I was raised here, and but at the same time, it's like you don't look like everybody else, and you you don't know where to put yourself. And so this platform is a way of it's okay not knowing because you're becoming who you are, and it's okay not knowing as long as you tell your story. And by you telling your story and making these movies, you're representing, you know, you're also raising another generation. So that's why we do this. So, but it just happened to be 80% of the youth are third culture kids. They are not ethnic Swedish. They are from different roots. Their parents are from different roots.
So an
yeah,
example would be like if your parents were, let's say, like born in Africa, but then you maybe were raised in Germany and now you're living in Sweden. So you have these three cultures that you're trying to bring into one. You have African roots. I'm just making, you know, up the German
or
part.
American roots. Or like you can be American roots, but you are, you grow up maybe in somewhere in the north in Scandinavia, and like anywhere in basically that.
So what are some of the stories that you're hearing? What are some of the experiences that you've heard play out in your workshops through Play and Rewind?
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of stories, and most of the stories are very, very regular stories, like every young kids go through. But what's so interesting about it, most of them didn't want to tell. They want to tell more important stories. And I remember when we did the workshop in Stockholm, I did a test script. So I present them a script to them. I kind of work with another script writer and ask her, like, can you write me something I'm going to introduce if this fit them, and then we can work it from there. So I introduced them the script, and they're like, no, we don't want this. This doesn't represent us. And for me, that was good. That was great, because that's what we wanted. And that's the whole purpose with this project, for them to take control and write their own stories. That was the whole purpose. So we was like happy. So what we did is we had a writer come in and take their stories and write it in a professional way. So, and that ended up being about their favorite place closing down due to funding, and what happened that closed down. What kind of anxiety does it create among the youth? So what you hear is that these youth want to tell important stories, stories that involve their regular life, and there are social questions. I think I lost myself there, but go ahead.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I think it's really important for them to get their stories out, because they're relatable to their peers, they're relatable to other people who are in their age group. And not only does Play and Rewind get their stories out, but there's also a mentorship component, because you really try to teach them how films are made, the behind the scenes people and production that goes into it. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, what's so important when we are making the movies, we don't want to make the movies for them. So what we do is we provide them with workshops. So they get to try how the acting works, they get to try how the camera works, they get to try how to write a story, and producing. We have producers come in, hold a workshop. So they get a perspective of a film. You have to be a team. It's not about the person that you see in front of the TV, like as a whole team that put this movie together. So that was very important, to give them the tool and to give them the toolbox in the filmmaking, and so they can tell their own story. And and on top of that, we have like really, really good what do you call it? Now I lost myself.
You have good
we have
people. You
like,
have good people.
yeah, we had a great team that actually contributed and sponsored the time and education to this youth. So and the youth was really happy have these people around, and they really took everything in and appreciate it. And yeah.
I do have a question. Someone wants to know, what are the challenges as a woman of color being a filmmaker in Sweden?
That's interesting. Okay, this is life. I mean,
What do you want to share? What can you share that you don't mind sharing?
I mean, I think this is. Oh Lord, are you? That was a really good question, and I'm alive, and I have to answer that.
I can come back to it. Because I have.
Come back to it. I really want to answer
circle
that.
back.
It's just not short answer, you know. It's just a long answer. So let's come back to it.
Okay, we're going to come back to it. There is another question. Will this project ever be seen in the United States? Will any of your projects, are they seen in the United States?
Actually, the movies is already outside in YouTube, and you can also go to our website, playandrewind.nu, and you can watch it from the website or go to YouTube, watch it too. So, and Play Rewind is a global platform with roots in Sweden. So what we do is we travel. We have traveled in Sweden. We're going to travel a little bit more cities and create more stories to tell the youth stories. But we also have a goal in the future to travel around the world, because we feel like these stories are really important because of the generation gap and also the identities issue that a lot of young people are facing today and will be facing, especially with the multimedia that's so everywhere. Yeah, so we will be traveling and creating more. So if you want to watch it, just go to the website, playrewind.nu, and then you can also click on the YouTube and watch it from there or the website.
Yeah. So let me ask you, when you're trying to find participants for the project, are they like open to this, or are they a little like shaky about it? Like, I don't know you, so I don't know if I want to open up and talk to you, or is it a mixture?
I mean, I think it's easier for me because a lot of youths that I approach, I kind of look like them. Or so it's easier for them to participate, and I also try to collaborate with the local youth centers, so and find a way to collaborate and tell them what we do, and that way they also reach their own youth and word of mouth, and you end up having like 20-25 youth in one workshop. So yeah, so it's pretty easy. It hasn't been a challenge for me to find these youth, and also you also see the need of being seen and being represented. So when I tell them what we're gonna do, I don't see a lot of shyness. I see more, wow, I want to be part of it, you know. And most of the time they think so. Like, not all of them, maybe few of them might think, oh, it's so easy because I get to be an actor or I get to hold the camera and be. But they realize how hard it is, because when we after the workshop we go hardcore. So and we have like timesheets, and you have to get at 4 o'clock, and they think like they're gonna have a 5 minutes break.
You're like, no, we're for real working right now. Like, we're working.
Yeah, yeah, but it's so fun because they all are so they give their all, and they enjoy it, and they just don't stop. At the end of the day, they're like, wow, this is so hard. They're like, yeah, we know, but it's worth it. Yeah, so it's nice to see that, you know, they have the energy and they realize, you know, this is not easy. It's hard, but it's worth it. So that kind of, you know, make it worth it when you see that, you know, you see a smile on their faces and be happy with the finished product. So yeah.
And after the project is over, like after they've done their filming, do you follow them past that? Do you keep up with them to find out how the rest of their stories kind of turn out?
Yeah, I do. I think most of them, I am friends with them on Instagram or Facebook, and I call them and text them. Like, yeah, we talk to them,
Mhm.
and the yeah, I can see them being very active on Instagram as well, and yeah, yeah, I'm still in contact with them, and some of them actually end up pursuing their acting, and some of them actually end up pursuing education in film. And some of them just love the experience because I know one of the actors for Stockholm, she was like super shy,
Mhm.
and but it was just something in her, and she ended up getting the role. I think everybody voted for her, if I remember correctly, to for her to have the role. And it was just she was the shy person, but she ended up being so great in her character, and it was just amazing to see that. And her sharing that, like saying, "Wow, thank you. It was a great experience. I didn't know that I could do this." Like,
Mhm.
oh, it's like it feels great for us to hear that, because most of the people or our team who do this, we do it for free. We do it. We sponsor our time and education because we all feel the same way. Is a need and a void to tell these stories, so they don't have to see themselves in a stereotypical way. Because even though if you tell a story, there are always a way to reproduce it. Like
Mhm.
it just look a little bit better, but it still have a foundation of a stereotype.
Mhm.
So, and that's still annoying. But if you watch these movies and subtitles on it too, so you will understand it. Uh, you kind of see like they are regular teens with just just yeah
Mhm.
just in a different life that need to be understood, just like everybody else. But I think by
Do-
giving them platform, a lot of people
mhm.
will recognize themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much to get to my
Oh no,
point.
you're
Go ahead.
fine. No, you're fine. I was gonna actually ask you. It's a question that came in. I'm just gonna kind of rephrase it a little bit. So, how do you put the stories out on social media? Because you and I were talking about how these kids nowadays are so tech savvy, way more tech savvy than we were, and so they're able to help spread the word even more than maybe you can just through your production company. So how is it packaged on social media? Are they helping to spread the word? Are you the main hub for Play and Rewind that's, putting it out there?
Yeah, so when we had a premiere in the beginning or the end of January, in the beginning of this year, so actually they spread the word. Like they will share it, and their friends will share it. So this was like this marketing was a lot of word of mouth, and at that time we had like an Instagram, I think 98 followers. So and for them sharing that, and then their friends sharing that, we had like 35,000 of impressions of
Mhm.
statistic of Instagram statistic, and this was like without paying any ad or nothing. So just that just show you, if we had more followers, how many people we could reach. So they
Mhm.
helped us, but it's an ongoing work. So we still have to like market and so people
Mhm.
to find and to watch this this
Is
movie.
there, do you teach acting? This is another question that came in. Do you teach the kids acting or any kind of documentary producing tactics?
Yes, we do. We do. We have workshops. Like, example, we have couple producers coming in, holding a workshop and telling what they do as a producers. And then also we have professional actors coming and teach them or not, give them lessons about acting, like acting 101, and they get to try different things, and they loved it, and most of them actually loved it. And so we kind of like to take the different departments in the movie making and give them workshops. So yes, to answer to that, yes. Do we have more?
And somebody said we can also spread the word for Filson on social platforms. So yeah, so everybody watching is going to make sure I put your stuff up there. We'll all make sure that we put our stuff up there. And let's just kind of like switch gears for a second, because when Filson and I met, we were just, you know, these grad school girls trying to, you know, make it, trying to make it, trying to, I actually, I feel like I latched on to you all because I was like one of the only people who was getting a master's in media theory, which is the study of media and all the components that go into it. Everyone else was getting a master's in fine arts. They were photographers, filmmakers, digital people. So I latched onto you. I latched onto big shout out to Emmeline, our girl, Emmeline Rodellis. She's in California, so she's probably still asleep, but I know that she's gonna watch it later. But we really formed like a great bond and a great network with each other. And now we are mothers. Filson has a beautiful, beautiful baby girl who, yes, we both have beautiful baby girls with very similar names. And your daughter is very multicultural. Your daughter has like an amazing background. We talk about third culture kids. Can you tell us a little bit about your daughter's background?
I think maybe I should just use that as a perfect example. I mean, my roots are East Africa. Her father's roots are Guatemala, but we both are Swedish. So, and that makes my daughter, you know, the new generation of coming, you know, the third culture kids. And I think that's a perfect perfect explanation about third culture kids. So I think I'm hoping by the time when she gets to 18, that this identity issues doesn't exist, you know, because everybody just and everybody just see or get to know, or I'm just hoping these issues doesn't exist in the future. I think I should just stop there.
No, that it's more normalized. Like culture is more normalized. Multicultural is more normalized. Hopefully, your daughter, who is going to be trilingual, basically, she's going to know English, Swedish, and Spanish.
She's already like, you know, taking words from here and there, and it's beautiful to hear it. So she's comfortable. So I love it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I do want to get in a couple more questions before we keep reminiscing. How do you fund your project?
How do you fund my project? Local sponsors, and I try to seek funding, grants, and it takes time, you know. I think that's one of the issues. It takes time because just making this platform, it took me 3-4 years. I never gave up because I had this vision, and I'm still not giving up. I still have a bigger vision for it, and I do want it to be a global platform where we get to see stories from different countries and actually try to connect with it. And the goal is to create a healthy dialogue, you know, to have a better understanding on each other, to have a better foundation, and also to inspire like professional writers to find what do you call it? The word I'm looking for, knowledge. You know, because they need knowledge. So and with the funding, we apply grants and local sponsors. That's how we do it.
So what you're doing is really amazing. You know, when I think about like what it was like for me growing up, although I always thought that it was so ethnically diverse, when I went to elementary school, it was like all Black and Hispanic kids and a lot of white teachers. And I always credit my third grade teacher. Shout out to Mrs. Carolyn Greenwood. She's my Facebook and my Instagram friend. But so she might see this, but she really kind of did what you're doing. She put a bunch of us girls together. I think it was maybe like 5 or 6 girls by this time. She was my third grade teacher, but by this time, maybe I was in 6th grade. And she got us together and she started what she called a rap group. And she's like, we're just going to sit here and rap, not literally rap, like we're going to sit here and talk about like, what's on your minds? What are you feeling? What are some of the experiences that you have? And I give her so much credit because she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to take a bunch of Black girls who were from the neighborhood and really try to get our stories out and have us hear each other, learn each other's backgrounds. We knew each other from class, but it brought some of us so close together. And I always give her credit for that, because it really made me feel like as a kid that my voice is important and my voice can be heard, and what's happening in my life matters, and other people think that it matters. And so because I was instilled at a really young age, it's something that's always stayed with me. So when I hear what you're doing with Play and Rewind, it kind of takes me back to my own personal experience. You're really putting these kids potentially on a path to be filmmakers, on a path to have better self-awareness, more confidence. You're opening the doors for them to say like, hey, your story doesn't have to be represented by someone who looks nothing like you, who's stealing your identity and your culture to now remix it into this other story. It can come from someone that looks like you. It can come from you because you can be on film. So I just want to really put out there the magnitude of what your platform is doing and trying to do.
Thank you. I really thank you.
Yes, no, we're also proud of you.
We are working on it.
We're all a work in progress, so it's all good. I do have another question, and then we're gonna wrap it up in a minute. But somebody wants to know, how do you balance work and motherhood? I feel like that's always the $1 million question that never has a real answer to it.
I know, it's like it doesn't. But I actually never stopped working while I was pregnant, and she was actually with us on the workshop. So yeah, she was always on set or on the workshop with us. So I don't know how I balance it. I want her to be part of my life, and I don't want to miss anything from her life too. So we always together. So it's hard. It's definitely hard. My battery. So it's hard. It's definitely hard, but it's also fulfilling because I get to spend time with her, and she gets to see what I do. So, but I also have my partner, my husband, so helps me. He's also a filmmaker. So that makes it a little bit easier for us to have him around all the time. So yeah, I don't know. How do you do it? You also working mom, and so I mean, it is hard.
It is hard, and I always tell people, like, I don't even lie. I'm like, I have help. That's the only way that I'm able to do it, is because I have help. If I did not have the support system that I have, I would not be able to do a live right now and have somebody like holding my daughter back so she doesn't, come and jump in the camera, and I was like on a work Zoom yesterday, and I was like holding her back as much as I could. And then I was just like, you know what, this is whatever. So, I had a virtual background. So you just see like her head appear, and it would come in and out of frame. So I just have fortunately, I have a lot of help that I'm very thankful for, because it's hard. And it's very, very hard. And we're raising women. And I think it's important that we put our best foot forward to make sure that they see the most amazing representation of a woman that they can, because we are that first point of contact for them. So I totally understand. And I want to, we're gonna wrap it up. I know you said your battery's dying. But please let people know where they can find you on Instagram, where they can connect with you for more questions and to find out more about Play and Rewind.
Okay, thank you. The website is playrewind.nyu. No, not NYU, I'm sorry. Play and Rewind, NU. NU. And Instagram is Play and Rewind, at Play and Rewind. And so if you go to the website, you find everything there. So www.playrewind.nu. So that's where you find us. And thank you again, Blayne, for having me here. And I hope I did good.
Oh my gosh, no problem. Well, no, you're amazing. And everybody's going to watch us and learn more about it. But before we do go, I always like to shout out the people, brands, and businesses that always support the lives. So please shout out anyone that you want to, especially because it's Women's History Month.
I want to shout out to all the women. Emmeline was one of those people that helped Play Rewind. And we have Lisa
Yes.
Vanilla. We have Laura. Oof, I hope I don't forget anybody. So those are the women who actually helped Play Rewind come alive. And thank you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think those are the women that I want to shout out to. And I hope I didn't forget anybody, please.
And shout out to the family, shout out to the husband, shout out to the baby,
Yeah,
shout out to Well, I wanna give a very, they're gonna watch the replay. If they're not on now, they're gonna watch the replay. I want to give a very big thank you to you, Filson, for being here with us all the way from Sweden. I want to give another big shout out to Emmeline Rodellis, who we mentioned. She's our grad school friend. She's part of our grad school clique that we had many years ago at Long Island University. And as Filson mentioned, she's in California right now, but she did help with the creation of Play and Rewind. So Emmeline's a great filmmaker as well. So big shout out to her. I'll put her information in a post later. I want to give a big shout out, of course, to two women who are on here up with us early in the morning. Dawn Kelly, founder of the Nourish Spot in Queens, and Christine Germain, author of The Brother's Curse. And because it is Women's History Month, I also have to give a really huge shout out to my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, all of the women who came before me, whose shoulders I stand on. And I just want to kind of end it with a message that's always been instilled in me from my mother, from my grandmother, that it's really nice if you have a family and I'm paraphrasing, but it's really nice if you have a family and you have a husband, that's great. But what happens if your husband passes away, if he becomes disabled, if he leaves you, what are you going to do? And so my mother, my grandmother have always instilled that you as a woman have to make sure that you're educated, you keep it classy as possible, and you're able to support yourself and your children and stand on your own 2 feet if you need to. So I want to give a big thank you, shout out to my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, and all of the other women who came before me to get me to where I am today. So thank you all. Thank you, Filson. Thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate you. And we will talk a little bit more offline now. And for those of you that want to watch the replay, tune into realishradio.com. Tune into my Instagram live, Blayne J, BLAYNE_J. That's my Instagram. All of the information is in my bio for Realish to watch this and to watch some other great shows. And I will see you all next week. Thank you.
Thank you.